You go, wait a second, that's weird. They were so dominant on Lotus. Why make the change? And it's not until you realize they're 5-2 on it, but their last two the two losses that they had were their most recent appearances on the map, and it was in playoffs.
Yeah, brutal. And I just have to continue thinking about what the Death touched about MCE and how brutal he was on the team in the last one. So going through and making a change, I think everybody's fired up when you see something like that. And they've also been changing quite a lot on other maps too, bringing a lot of Viper. So not that this is anything super different in terms of that here, but the Raze is such a different tool.
And then again, as the desk was touching on, they then have made a couple of changes to how they want to approach this as well. So we'll see how the Fade does with the Raze. I think it was Valen who was saying that on the desk. It should be a very good matchup.
And in perfect Leviathan style as well. This is the comp that they brought into LCQ too. So let's see how much change we get throughout this series. And look at this immediate B pressure coming in from Leviathan, who's starting on defense. The Prowler, they take it down, control everything, put deep alarm bot.
Yeah.
And I like this from Cloud9, trying to punish that. Actually forces Taco by himself.
Wait, Leaf went through. Leaf went through the rotating door. Now they're going to want to fight for mid.
Just that trade could have been a lot worse there for Leviathan. The fact that Taco gets one is super important. And not following this Trailblazer right now. Still wondering what's on the rest of that site. Is there any traps? Are there the mollies? Did we clear everything out? And instead they walk through.
Oh, it sounded like they made noise too, so they should know that C is the hit. Tap on the spike. Leaf is already in such a forward position. As soon as smoke goes down, a couple of kills are exchanged in favor of Cloud9 though. And it's only getting better.
Can't use that yet.
That's falling off there. That was such a good call. Twice there you went for contact on Cloud9. And both audibles that they called in this round were perfect. The first one to trap Takolia inside of B main there, and then the second one to catch this spawn push unaware. So nice.
Yeah, you're already seeing a lot of fluidity, a lot of like game time decision making, adjustments on the fly that are netting them some success.
I'm super curious if both of those ideas were protocol or if it was something that they're calling on the fly. To me, it looked like protocol, the fact that they walked through that orb, or that smoke at the beginning of the round together there, Zelsis and Rooney. And that's a pistol for Cloud9, something that MCE talked about was lacking for them in that series against Crew that they lost earlier in the week. They started off strong in that series as well, though. On Ascent, they stomped Crew out. It was only the next two maps where things went bad. This is what I'm talking about. Both Zelsis and Rooney, they're walking through at the same time. It's very, very nicely handled. This secondary push, too, where they Trailblazer all the way up. They push him into spawn behind the smoke, so he can't confirm the information, is so key from Cloud9. And again, super well played.
Seems like they're expecting some aggression from Leviathan here. See how slow they are to getting out of spawn. And maybe it isn't pacey, but Leviathan do seem intent on taking some A main control.
And funny enough, they've been farming orbs for Taco on defense, which it's not something that you're used to seeing. And they're going to actually push through this Viper wall here in a second. Wait for the fuel to come down, maybe. Here it comes.
Everyone is just so closely pitched up. You see it. I mean, with the haunt there. Leviathan were able to get two, though, and that nade from Leaf was gorgeous.
Got a second one. Forces again Mazina to be by himself there. The rest of his team can't join him.
Do they commit to trying to get out on B? There are two remaining members of Leviathan here that quickly turns into one. He falls as well. That's the second round going in favor of Cloud9.
Yeah, but despite the success that you're having there, with the nade, with the first engagements there inside of B main as Leviathan comes through, yes, they get the first kill, but everything else after that felt like it went Cloud9's way. It actually didn't. They lost 3 guns. And you're actually getting a canceled bonus here from Cloud9. They're investing 2 rifles into this one. 2 players are not going to be able to buy up in the next. King a deep orb lineup for C while he's playing on that B side. So he can help cover up. You just saw it land right there in front of Shy.
This is now the second round that they try to creep out towards C. There are 2 nanos just beneath them. Once they clear the first, that's a Q. The flash up top, and Shy has to give the space back.
And I don't think Leviathan was expecting that deep Viper orb. It was so deep in. It allowed to pop way further into the site than you normally are.
The Prowler just split a couple members of Cloud9 without latching on anyone. And once again, you're seeing this, like, Cloud9 putting deep utility out. That nano up towards C, and they're going to creep their way around it.
Surely you can't go contact in another time.
I mean, they've done it so many times, and it's gotten them this far.
Still no spike plant.
Oh, that looked rough. Shy getting the best of Leaf.
Spike planted.
Spike finally going down. Numbers in favor of the defense.
And normally this would be a situation where Leviathan, if they were down in numbers in this case, if Cloud9 was successful, they'd be off saving. Instead now, they're going to go for this 4v3 retake.
Paranoia to make sure there's no one playing up close. But they still have to wait for this utility before they can make a move forward. And Rooney and Jake are there to greet on the other side. Falls down to a 1v2. Rooney's so weak. Zelsis isn't much better off. This is winnable. Mazzino just has to make a play here, and it's got to be fast.
Oh,
That's
no.
a play. Another one right beneath them. They're wrapping right around each other, but he turns around at just the wrong time. You're right. There was just not enough left on the clock to pull that off. Cloud9 get the third.
And consider the fact that Cloud9 waited for so long to put that plant down. Leviathan was literally wrapping around the site with 5 players up, and they still were not planning. They allowed the rotation to come all the way through, and it's because of things like this. They're really trying to eat into these retakes before they can strike.
Yeah.
And that's not a strategy that's going to be consistent as time goes on, because Leviathan will keep their guns out, will not get ready for the retake until they can clear out the space close to them. But it is a nice idea to come up with a bonus win like that. Leviathan buying up a couple stingers here. They're going to push B again. Maybe with a flash if there's contact. And Cloud9 want none of it. For the first time, they're going to approach this A side, and it's dry to see if they're pushing up towards Rubble or anything like that. Is there going to be aggression here with the fade raise? No? All right, we'll take the space.
You wonder if they pivot back too, given some of Rooney's utility, including the warp that's towards C.
I mean, wow. Both teams are playing incredibly scared, is what I would say so far about this game. Cloud9, again, they got information here. They peeked all the way up into this A side. It's only now that they're pushing up. And still, they're not going through. It's only Leaf on the site. He might get trapped up. They're pivoting back into this B side. This is the first time they're actually going to hit it without any Leviathan players being able to get this information early. So the plant will come down faster.
Shy is going to be the first on the scene, but he's kept back by the Viper wall. Going to have to rotate around and try to approach the site from a different area. You already see the Astra Star starting to go down, courtesy of Jake, to deny any entry. And there's really not much here. I mean, Taco has his ult. But Nazar doesn't have any utility to really set him up, to really get him going.
And that wall is just so good against any B retakes. Got to make an attempt here for Lev, but not going to find anything. And it is important that they keep trying to chunk down at that econ for Cloud9 as they go up to 4. But I'm a little concerned here. As the first 4 rounds, I'm seeing Leviathan continue to deal with the same game plan. That's twice now that they push down B on the eco round. And twice now that it's not garnered anything. Now we finally do have Taco's ult, but it's met with a couple from Cloud9 too. And you also have for this gun round that extra Astra wall as well. So you don't have to fully rely on just the smokes and the Viper wall too. Early Trailblazer clears a lot, but they're regrouping again. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Prowler here. If it contacts, to see Taco send it.
That's 2 guns that have been fired, and there it is. There's a showstopper, the flash. Taco was just on the other side. Zelsis gets cleaned up.
That's a really nice play based off of what we've seen in the last couple. That's the sort of pick you want to go for, rather than fully overcommitting yourself. And you're seeing the same type of response that we saw in Pistol from Cloud9, just not able to catch anybody in this case.
They've done such a good job around playing through Rooney's utility.
The alarm bot's down right now. Nosworth. Oh!
No,
that's Taco, actually. Just as the wall goes up, he finds the timing to spray.
Jake just tapped. It was just a threat. The second time is much more committed. And with the nade in his lap, he's got to reposition. There's really nobody to cover King's approach here. He can creep his way forward, but instead he's waiting. choosing not to venture out onto the site while Leaf takes plenty of space back behind him. Note, he has ult here. Jake has his ult too. But they're so close to each other. Rune is in such a good spot, but it's gone to 1-for-1, leaving Leaf in a 1v3, and he cannot convert.
There's the advantage garnered by Leviathan there. Taco being aggressive and then them falling into passive positions, getting extra value out of that too, while spraying safely. But you've got to love that little trap there, at least the way that Taco's able to pounce off that Prowler's information. And remember, Taco had slow starts in the past. Today, absolutely not. 4 first kills already in 5 rounds.
Very reminiscent of what we saw the last time we saw Leviathan play. They did a really good job of using utility to set up their duelists, to take aggressive angles and to make plays. Something that was lacking the majority of the season.
And this is unfortunate though. There's 3 ults now online for Cloud9. Still Taco finds the kill though.
Off of the haunt, that's so well done.
And they had the Prowler and Paranoia to fall back on. Cloud9 in trouble. And this is super important because this is a huge round here. Leviathan's economy will get completely reset, and Cloud9 might end up going up to 6 if they just win this one, and they have many ults to actually challenge, very strong ones in that. And the fact that they've denied this C space completely forces Zelsis to reconsider and Cloud9 to reconsider as well. I like this fake pressure going on by Jake, though, which might pinch Mazzino.
He's going to play up into the smoke, isn't he? Clearing the turret, too. They've already drawn 3 members from Leviathan over towards A. How much more do they invest? A second tap of the door, but nobody's moving. Meanwhile, Mazzino swinging back out, and surely at this point they understand it's all a ruse.
It's a great way to even things up. They are going to spend the lockdown. Earlier in the game, you might have seen them actually just go through, but they don't have that Trailblazer to follow up and see exactly what's on site. Is there going to be a nade? There's going to be a nade. Here comes Taco. No.
Sees
Just the C's.
Jake is about to get... Oh, he turned on Shy! He invests the wall and turns around, takes care of the lurk, and they get the pit control on C. Now he's in a position to where he can hit a late flank through spawn and blow the round up.
Look at this position, though, from Taco. You're absolutely right about Jake. He's coming through spawn, but Taco has advantage on top. He can't see in the pit, though, and there's a great pit out here. Rooney can just stay outside mound.
And the benefit is that nobody can see him either. So while he's dissuaded, he's incapable of taking anyone down with him. He should be safe. Jake, what? He had 6 HP.
Safe, but can he escape here? Absolutely not. Way too much to look at. And that's what I was talking about. This was a tough round here for Leviathan to lose because it's a reset economically. They go back down to that 1.9K from losing this one. So the buy is going to be really tough. And again, they did get success here, but they hold on a little bit too long to the C mount. And Cloud9 does a great job bringing the pressure towards A so that they rotate and leave Mazzino isolated. And you saw the double ult cascade there. That lockdown into the Viper's pit is so difficult to deal with. Taco might be playing insane right now, but the strategy from Cloud9 is completely nullifying that explosiveness from him.
Zeppa grabbing that orb there, gets the Seekers online. Lagging a little bit behind on this hit towards C. Meanwhile, Leviathan intent on pushing A. And there is some help here, courtesy of Zelsis. He's able to cover the flank, give some room for his teammate to breathe. Cloud9 are just doing such a good job of remaining fluid. They're not really committing to either which side. They're just waiting to feel the push and pull of the map, how the round is going, and what Leviathan are showing them, and then being opportunistic and advantageous on the other side of that. Oh! Well done by Mazzino.
I'm still loving the gusto, though, from Leviathan. The fact that they're still going for kills after their initial plans fail is not something that we are normally used to seeing from Leviathan. And look at this. Shy's getting really deep, almost goes down drop, and they've got advantage here.
That's huge. He should be able to upgrade a weapon.
Healing over here.
Tough to pick up, though, when they're watching the cross.
Yeah, Zeppa is 1 HP.
Calling my bot.
Zelsis is, for all intents and purposes, here alone. Unless Zeppa can pull off something insane.
There's still not that much util anymore. Here, from Leviathan.
And they don't have really guns. I mean, they've got 2 stingers and the sheriff.
What they're doing is just waiting for that Killjoy turret to find something.
Well done by Zelsis, finding the right timing to take down Nosler. King upgraded the weapon, and it's the last one that remains. King in a 1v2. He was so good in his previous series, but he doesn't just have to deal with Zep and Zelsis right now. He's got the clap that's not on his side either. 6-1 for Cloud9.
This has been a snowball.
Move as a unit, okay?
Cloud9 surprisingly have only
some hero messing
won
things up.
one of those gun rounds. Outside of that bonus conversion, which definitely they invested into, so you could also count that. But everything else has been anti-ecos, pistols, those sorts of things. And they've gotten close here for Leviathan. They're just not able to bring it through. And in this round, you could clearly see the deficiency as it falls down to some of that utility missing there. They didn't have anything else to take initiative. This is initiative, though. Odin spam and a pit as well to completely contain this A site. Think about what Jake was doing in the prior round where he was bringing a lot of pressure. That's not available anymore. And Cloud9, let's see if they just go straight for the jugular elsewhere.
Do they dare tap the door? Do they push out towards B? You see the satchel out. And 2 members of Leviathan have already fallen.
That's massive there,
Yeah.
out from Leaf. Whatever you saw off of that Trailblazer, I heard it from the stage. Hit, 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 hit. They weren't planning on doing it, but he was very happy with what he saw. Instantly satchels in.
At this point, Leviathan are at such a deficit in the round, even with the utility that they have, it's going to be so difficult to work their way in. And there are layers to this. Zelsis is still playing pretty far back. He still has 2 nanos. There's a lot of safety to this round for Cloud9. Even with that, the 3v2 Shy flashed. Has to take a step back. Jake is once again on a vintage Jake flank, finding just the right timing. Spotting the last. Nasr has to tuck. He's got to run away to try to save this weapon, and it seems like Cloud9 want to hunt.
And they're gaining confidence here.
I mean, they've got him surrounded. They've got him surrounded. Oh! How does he survive both?
Even that, though, it's not the biggest punch into Cloud9 there.
No, it's just more about Nasr being able to save his.
Right, 100%. And I'm saying they're gaining confidence here because you're seeing Rooney make plays like walk into his Viper Orb that he's not sure is clear.
Yeah.
There's a Prowler on the other side, so he's gonna get cleared out when they go for the execute, but he's dropping it right as the timing is perfect for him. And making a solo play, which I 100% love. It's a risky one, but one that can catch Leviathan off guard by so much. And what you want to do is disrupt those retakes before they happen. And that's been the game plan for Cloud9 the entire time. But then as well, earlier on, you saw them be really slow. The Trailblazer clears the entire site and they walk in.
Yeah,
you know, that
contact,
sort of thing.
yeah.
This time, you see nothing and you realize that they're overextended on both sides of the map. Really good call from whoever on Cloud9 made that one. And this has gotten out of control here for Leviathan. We heard a lot about how they weren't playing like it was their last chance earlier on in this event when they played against Crew and they got stomped in that first match. And then they felt like they got their bearings against Sentinels. But now you're up against a different beast. This is a team that's beaten you twice now. And when you get off to a start like this, those thoughts creep back into your head. Are they just really going to do this again? Are we cursed against this team? That's when it starts really taking effect.
Maybe the timeout is enough for them to stabilize and try to right the ship. Because
Got
you're
the
right.
Fade Raise over here.
It's been all Cloud9. There's the Paranoia, there's the Seize, there's the Nade.
Well, that's a really interesting position to throw it, given that there's no Omen on this side. And Leaf hasn't really gone for a satchel across too often.
Yeah, and Mizzino has been very consistent in taking this space. We've seen them post him up here a couple of times, but you're right. There hasn't been a ton.
Nice, love this. Getting in front of the wall right now so he can actually play with this one way, which he just refreshed, by the way.
Yeah, there's still plenty of time on this.
Will eventually have to fall back, but they're going through drive.
And Taco's the one who gets a kill. He ults. He's going to spot another, and he cleans him up. Rooney's down.
It keeps Jake isolated right now. Can they actually use this time to take him down?
I wasn't sure if they knew where he was, but the swing out from Taco confirms the suspicions, but the kills get traded back and forth, leaving Zelsis alone. A 1v3, a rifle in the hands of Nasr too.
Coming back.
And he's not far off.
That's a fantastic read there from Leviathan.
Celsius has to make a play. He's got to isolate this 1v1, and he got what he wanted, but it was still too much.
Right out of the timeout. That used to be places where you would fear owner getting involved in the conversation. And there's an example of why that used to be the case. Can he find that form again in LCQ? And you can tell, I mean, they went for a denial on the A side. And that's not necessarily even because they're really expecting Cloud9 to go for some crazy thing, but they do, you know, prevent that so that their secondary follow-up can be good. And that's now twice where they've had such a good plan for Taco's ult. And you can see why earlier on. You're putting a lot of emphasis on getting him some of those defensive side orbs, which again, be control here. This smoke again. Taco's gonna get the orb up one more time. No, that's Noswer.
Now has the Nightfall to play with, so they get the orb, they get the alarm bot down, and they give the space right back. They just retreat, reset around the rest of the map. You want to hear how Froggy King decides to get? You see what the setup was? That's so pretty! Playing in the orb, expecting the haunt to tag, and then being able to spam from it.
And this is where things can get scary if you're Cloud9 against this Leviathan squad. When their prep is working like that, it's very difficult to try to counteract, especially when it comes to getting first kills, which Leviathan has been dominating on, by the way.
Hey, even look at the guns that they have right now. King is the only one with a Phantom. The only one who could have safely made a spam play from that position. This is just so well considered.
That ult, Mazino's going for info. Could have been dangerous because he didn't spot Jake inside of the smoke, but
30 seconds left.
that Nightfall comes through. Doesn't spot anybody. Now they spot two because of Taco jiggle peeking on stairs here.
I wonder at what point Leviathan are going to start to realize that once they find Jake, they know that the hit is more likely than not elsewhere on the map. Perhaps they start getting a jump on these, but either way, Cloud9 committed to having some presence A, but the spike is C, and it's there by itself.
Yeah, and you're hoping that those two players could have gotten something done, but yeah, I mean, QB sneak has just been pulled. They're asking his team, they're asking Celsius for a 1v5 here, is what Cloud9 just did. What a position, too. It's a complete one and done. And he might just get one, actually, and he might be able to get a lockdown on the spike. Oh!
There's still just so much to do. I want to believe and I want to get excited, but he's so far from it. Mazino's just going to stick to defuse.
Yeah.
There's nothing that Celsius can do to challenge it back.
There was a chance there. I'm curious if he had actually planted a little closer to himself. If he gets just a completely free lockdown there, he has to cross all the way across to put that down. And obviously, with the pressure on the defuse, way too much. There was actually a chance there. I wasn't expecting one to actually present itself at all, but either way, Leviathan get to 3, and they're really needing the next couple here.
Yeah. Can Cloud9 have 4 ults to work with? Leaf is not too far off from his. He's had a quiet game so far. And you see how they are prioritizing getting the mid orb from Leviathan. So it's not just getting Leaf one step closer to having Showstopper, but denying Leviathan the resource that they've so heavily invested to throughout this half.
Well, in this case, Leviathan doesn't have any ults left to really cascade up, except maybe Mazino's, and that's not going to find that much use. So you completely fall off of the idea of getting these orbs, but you're right, it gives up that resource to Cloud9, who just got 2 orbs for Leaf to go crazy with.
Well, will he go crazy? Oh! 61 HP. The guy was melted. They invest the Seekers, the Showstopper, and the Cosmic Divide, and the Pit. They've thrown almost everything they have at this round. Celsius' ult is the one thing that has not been invested.
And normally you're able to use the lockdown to get yourself in position for this pit. This time they use everything else.
And there it is, the final part.
It's so nice. They have the lockdown to counter the other lockdown, and there's even a nade going in too to cancel Leviathan's.
Mazino's okay. He's got to be careful here.
Oh.
Yeah, he got detained. He's not under threat.
There's no time anymore here to get through this pit.
Yeah.
There's no resources either. Noswer still has actually a Prowler, but I think this is going to be.
It has to be explosive. It has to be now.
They're saving.
Yeah.
It's only King who has 5.7 who's staying around. And remember, this would have been a reset, so some players here would be losing the opportunity to buy in the next, and they might even do A lot more damage than just that. No, the 3 players who might not have a chance next round to get something up are safe on that A side.
And that brings us to the very last round of this opening half of this best of 5. Again, lower finals, crew waiting on the other side with 1 spot left up for grabs at champs.
It'll be the last spot too. Pacific will be done. EMEA, we already know the 2 LCQ qualifiers.
And that leaves all eyes on us. All eyes on these 2 teams to see who gets to qualify, who gets to dance with crew for the big one. It's interesting, through all of that previous round, King is, and he would have to get every single orb or 1, 2, and a kill to have his pit online.
And you need, when the Viper, you need something that comes up really early so you can actually consider the strat. You saw it earlier.
Oh, you're right. Whoa, Celsius.
There's a double peek attempt there from Celsius and Jake. You've been seeing that. One of them working through the orb while the other takes down the turret.
Toxins going up.
But he gets punished this time by Shy.
I mean, they almost got punished by both of them falling. Celsius was down to 61 HP. He's got healed up by Zeppa, but Cloud9 are falling apart here.
And look at this, Cloud9 as well. Have to trailblazer through the one-way from Mizzino, who's been doing such a fantastic job at keeping mound control.
Bomb grenade out.
They do leave him alone, but right now he has a flash too. So much delay.
Yeah, he's been very good here. Him being alone might not matter, and now Taco's shown up. Mizzino's already gotten the first 3 bullets to get the second, make that 2. Ultimately falls, and once again, Celsius in a 1v impossible.
30 seconds left.
These sites open right now. Will we find that opportunity? King is coming back just in time to deny the plant potentially.
No armor, 91 HP. Remember, he was the one who was beaten and pattered at the opening of the round.
Noswar and Shy even have a high-low here.
Yeah, that wraps.
So well considered. I mean, a good recovery here from Leviathan. They were winning a lot of these first engagements, which I thought gave them a lot of advantages. But Cloud9 strategically was winning these battles. And then as well, just getting the cascade of really important key swing rounds, making it impossible for them to really get into the game, and they've done it anyways. So an 8-4 half is definitely very doable here for Leviathan.
It was really off of the owner timeout, right? They'd seen lost and they seemed a little discombobulated, but off that timeout, they put together a couple of rounds and get them to a 4-8 half. Cloud9 still up. Golden Boy, what do you make of the first half?
Well, what I make of it is that we at the very least have ourselves a competitive matchup with Leviathan managing to get themselves right back into the 8-4. It's not the craziest scoreline for Leviathan, but, you know, a few rounds, you're right back into this one. But C9 showed that they are a deadly squad here at the beginning, Sean.
Yeah, I love the approach out of Cloud9. I mean, from the get-go, they were willing to kind of dry walk into C in these mid-rounds. Third round, they did the same. And Leviathan didn't really have answers. I think Cloud9 took a little bit of a page out of Crew's book, because this is how Crew took out Leviathan. But then Leviathan settled into this game mainly on that thrifty hold on long A by Mizzino. I think he came up big for them.
But it's really interesting to see how their comp changed without this Neon. Previously, it was a lot of these really fast hits. Here, they're slowing it down. Still mid-rounding the same way they did with the Neon. But on these site execs, it's a lot more of those contact plays you were talking about. And also, what's interesting about the comp change is who's playing the agents. Because Zeppa has switched over to the Sky. Normally on Raze maps, he's their Raze player. But instead, he stays on a roll. He's played a lot in their old comp, and he is looking so good, especially compared to his last match versus Crew.
Yeah, Zeppa's been turning up this game for sure. I want to add to the mid-rounding aspect that you talked about. Shout out to Rooney, because he's inserting people front B, oftentimes himself or Zelsis on Killjoy, and so allows them to push-pull between C and A without worrying about that B pressure, which is very key for Cloud9. A lot of times, they like to over-rush and go too fast, but now they're inserting players in areas that they know you can't get pushed from, and just push-pulling back and forth. It's looking great.
With their last comp, Cloud9 was the best team in Americas at defense on Lotus, but they're going to change the way they play with this one. It was previously defined by fast rotations with the Neon. Here, watch instead how they're stalling with that Raze nade. I'd expect a lot more of these set retakes that they've shown to be really good at throughout LCQ.
Yeah, there are going to be some change-ups here. We're interested to see how this all plays out in the second half. Let's send it back over to Doug and Bala.
Thanks so much, GB. 4-round lead for Cloud9 on their map pick. Pearl on the other side, which has plenty of history on its own, and we'll talk about that when we get there. But for now, really the onus on Leviathan Bala to get this pistol and to start some momentum on this attacking side on Lotus.
Absolutely. I think they did a great job getting Taco involved in some of those first engagements, but They started to falter when Cloud9 threw some of these curveballs at them. Now that Leviathan is in the driving seat in terms of giving information and trying to push on these sites, they might take the pace up a notch completely.
You see Zelsis having to run away to try to preserve life. Rooney's there with him, and the rotations from the defense are starting to arrive already.
Yeah, they just used a lot of their initiation power there, though. Mazzino used his paranoia through, and he actually puts a smoke on top of the site, too. So once this orb goes down, they might have a way to just walk through. The alarm bot's deep, though.
Remember how much value Cloud9 found on contact plays onto the site just like this. Leviathan trying to do a bit of the same, give them a taste of their own medicine. Zelsis having to reposition and stay alive, and does.
They actually miscommunicated where they wanted to throw that C's nade. That could have caught the pillar there, but both the utils went in different spots.
Look at how close they are up. The sky flash is so high, and they all swing out at the same time, but it's tit for tat. A 3v2 now in favor of Cloud9. Zelsis weak. Shy on the swing. The first shot not landing. Second one doesn't either. Meanwhile, Nas, we're not missing. He tried making that outrageous play, and he got dangerously close. So that's another round for Cloud9.
It's very important that situation stabilized from them because they started running it down when it became a 3v1. We've seen many mistakes be made just like that on crucial rounds like the pistol. It'll cause an explosion backstage of rage. Right now, though, Leviathan needed that to get back into this easily. They've made it hard for themselves now. And you could think just a little execute difference, and that could have been a massive, massive win for them. Instead, now look at this. They're buying up full sheriffs, even on the characters who won't have util next round, just to potentially get spam damage on this A side right now. You hear the shots being fired off.
Spike's not even in tow currently. But they've crept pretty far up towards A main.
There.
You see the Prowler from Zeppa so that Rooney can take some of the space back.
Leviathan just tried to use the gap of smoke timings there to try to find a kill on Leaf. They didn't get it, though. No damage found at all. Rooney up close. Famous Cloud9 Stinger buys up here, too, on their anti-eco. Which, against Sheriff, seems like a good proposition, but can also be quite dangerous if you start giving up some of those Stingers in close-range engagements.
Dude, through all of this and the 30 seconds left in the round, they haven't taken any
30
damage.
seconds left.
And this is where the gun difference that Cloud9 have proves to be even more and more powerful and more difficult for Leviathan to have to navigate.
And Leviathan need a plant here. They absolutely need a plant.
I don't think they're going to get that even.
One enemy remaining.
I mean, that might have put him away.
After all of that, you mentioned it was like a minute of working the map and getting a lot of space from Cloud9. They got all the way up B Heaven before they really took a real engagement there. And they should have had a plant because they had all that space.
Yep.
But instead, it's late, labored. And now they're going to be relying on a lot of people with no util here. Shy, no nano swarms. King, no mollies. Pulse plant's out the window entirely. They still get the light armor vandal, though. So it's a dangerous situation still. But Cloud9 won that bonus in the first half. If they do it again here, the game is over.
Look at how much help they already have. Cloud9 do with the revolving door. Zeppa's there with the flash, pushing them back. And they're so intent on drawing a line in the sand here for Cloud9. Not only do they invest the flash and tap the door, but they drop multiple stars to keep them back.
And it looked like they were trying to commit into that. But Jake was a little late, and they end up canceling anyway, so he recalls the stars. Leviathan uses a lot, though, to get back through that nade. Paranoia. Again, a Prowler as well. Taco gets up an orb. And it does pull the rotates here. This is where Cloud9 is in uncomfortable territory given their last comp. The Neon was able to get so fast over towards C and back to A if they needed to. It could cover up the gaps of over-rotation, and right now they have. It's just Zelsis alone here.
That's such a good point. You can see he has a couple things considered, though. The Nano at the door to buy some time. He's going to push into it. Boy, he wanted to go. May have been for the best that he didn't fit. But the second time through, the spam cleans him up. The thing is, the spike is still not out. Zelsis has done a good job to delay because the members of Cloud9 are already here.
This orb is falling. King's in a weird position.
Spike planted.
Leaf is out backside.
They've already got 2. Leviathan have. They're going to get them all. They do. A great response from Leviathan at just the right time.
And Cloud9 had an opportunity there. If that call was slightly later and they got the timing right on that C mound crunch, that could have been devastating for the state of the game. Instead, Leviathan uses really good misdirection. And they hold on strongly. Look at this position from King. This is what I was saying. It's precarious, sure, but it's also a nasty off angle. You never expect somebody right behind the smoke there on that box.
Exact same setup for Leviathan, or at least pretty freaking similar to it. The Haunt, and then they try to take the Spade Sword C-Mount. But this time, there's no Cloud9 presence at door. Taco's going. He's going in aggressively. He spotted Rooney, but he somehow managed to dodge the ult. Zelsis is here to help. How is Rooney still alive?
They're trying to spam him down.
He hasn't taken a single bit of damage.
He literally walked into Jake's own grab wall, and here's the flank from Leaf. They still got more here, though. Zeppa's here to cross with Jake. Oh, and it goes the wrong way.
They have no idea Jake is here. Do they consider it? How patient is Jake? He swings out at the right time.
Attacker spawn.
Cleans up 2, expecting a 3rd. Shy is just so weak, but he doesn't have time to really think this one through. He's got to swing out and challenge, take the fight. Mazzino did not help him. Zeppa gets them both.
And look how quick the Cloud9 players there are to join up against each other too. Zeppa takes that Prowler contact, makes a lot of noise for Jake. That's a bait setup. Jake rakes in the 2 kills. And then instantly Zeppa is joining right behind him, hip to hip. They know there's no flashes in this comp other than Mazzino. And they're happy to stand in an angle like that to collect the last 2. Beautiful stuff. This moment right here, Zeppa getting in this position with Jake is something that I highly commend. The fact that he's able to do that within the 3 seconds since Jake's kills.
We're going into this one fast, and for good reason, too. Everyone's already here. It's just Rooney who's on the opposite side of the map, and through the flashes, through the walls, they then walk away with 2. They invest in Nightfall, too, and they're going to get on to A.
And Rooney did get here in time to really understand what's going on. Despite everybody falling away from B, deafened up there.
Dude, this is what I'm talking about, man. King is just so bold.
It's been a quiet game from him
Player standing.
up to this point, but as the Leviathan players start to heat up, you definitely look towards King in every single one of his games so far. In every single one of his series, he's had a massive monster game. He had almost 300 ACS when they were getting stomped against Crew. Moments against Sentinels as well. Probably one of the most consistent IGLs in terms of individual level as well.
He's going to have to do so much more, though, if they want to take this Lotus map. It's interesting here. Rooney has normally been by himself towards C, but there's a lot of help this time.
Trying to punish an orb pickup here. Is what's going on with the flash through. Great movement.
Excellent movement. All it does is buy some time, though. It delays. Mazzino's there, though, from the back, providing cover.
Yeah. And Rooney full blind has no way to escape this situation.
The paranoia and then the Prowler in his face.
And I am loving as well Mazzino's extra smoke that he's throwing before actually engaging into this on top of C so that nobody can actually assist from range. And with this turret not spotting anything right now, they have information across back. Zelsis does get the info too, so Leaf will be here. And you're wondering what follows. Cloud9 love to invest ults into eco rounds just like this, but in a 2v4, you're definitely not expecting it.
He has 2 satchels.
But 1 kill, that's all it takes for him to spring.
There it is.
He popped it! He popped it! Nade back up!
It's a 1v2. Oh, he tried going for the gun. He was just so weak.
And imagine that situation too. Shy is weak. He's isolated from Nosworth.
Yeah.
That Stinger's instantly making mincemeat of him. And then you pick up the Vandal and you can take a 1v1. That is just crazy. But they've wasted key pieces. It's been one of the reasons why some of these games have gone completely out of reach for Cloud9. Some of the maps as well. has been their insistence on investing important pieces of utility in the form of ultimates. And it might let Leviathan back into this game too. Those sort of power ults are ones that you want to keep to get towards those key rounds, and you were deep into this. Everybody on the other side of this wall, what is Taco? Right through it.
As a couple of members fall, both teams reset, they take a step back, and there's a Killjoy fight across B. Going in favor of Zelsis. They invest the Seekers too. Cloud9.
Oh, he's stuck,
And drawing a line in this map, really, off of this round. Leviathan with very few options here.
Tough position to be in.
Yeah.
And against the Leaf, he's still fully kitted and completely understanding what's going on. Look at this reclear that they're calling right now. They're going to be way faster into that B link than you expect to.
Oh. They're committing to this. Leviathan have to win this round.
They're holding on.
They've
Both
got
of them going up heaven right now.
That's, oh my gosh, they've already gotten two. Rooney's gonna get spotted by one. Leaf is the only one who hasn't been detected, and he gets king.
That's the pit down.
That's all of it. Rooney saves it. Holy smokes, that was way closer than I thought it was gonna be.
Oh. That was insanely tight there. Cloud9 up to match point though, and it's off of a fantastic round from the players holding on A. But it's also Leviathan trying to force through that wall. Taco had a little bit of initiative there by himself. Went completely against three people on the other side of that wall because he was trying to punish and tunnel vision. He still got that kill. But because of that, Leviathan had to try to save him. And they lost two more for it.
Let's flush them out.
Potentially final round here, Cloud9 have the ability to close out this map.
With two big ults on defense too. And Zelsis is locked down, and then Jake's Cosmic Divide. So they have some serious tools. Just gotta be able to convert. Is that gonna clear out any of the utility that's set up by Zelsis? No, I don't think it will.
So good from Zelsis to reposition it here too, because Leviathan has been doing a great job getting up close on C. So that Molly's intended to clear out Zelsis' Molly's so that they can go for a double satchel play in. Instead, they have no information on what's happened. And there's still two Molly's up on site to deny this plant completely on the site.
Taco might still commit to this. He just got his ult off of that orb, and he says one satchel, and there it is. That's the go, and it's traded 1-for-1. A commitment of the ult to get back site, but Zelsis is still alive. The utility is still at play here. It's still going to be really difficult to get through this.
With this KJ ult too, they're going to have to push it. There's only one player right now. The flash coming in from Zelsis.
Oh, so good! The timing of that flash was gorgeous! Simple from downtown secures the round and secures the map for Cloud9.
Right in front of their faces. And there was definitely a gap there. Leviathan was trying to take down that lockdown. But it's a strong start here in this best of 5. A long way to go for Cloud9 still. But impressive when you switch up the comps like that and you have everybody still on. I mean, Leaf in particular, so many nice little nade spots, really comfortable on the agent, which we know he's good on Raze.
Right.
That's not even a question. But still also getting the same impact in terms of rotations and